One Summer That Changed Everything. Foster by Claire Keegan. What if a single summer could change the course of a child's life? In a quiet corner of rural Ireland, a young girl is sent away from her crowded, neglectful home to live with strangers. She doesn't know why she's been left there, or when she'll be taken back. But in the Kinsella household, she discovers something she has never known before: safety, tenderness, and the astonishing power of being truly seen. Claire Keegan's Foster is a story so spare and luminous that it whispers straight to the heart. A tale of loss, love, and the quiet miracles that can transform us forever. Part 1. Arrival at the Kinsellas. There are books that whisper more than they speak, stories that lodge themselves in our hearts not through spectacle or drama, but through quietness, tenderness, and silence. Claire Keegan's Foster is one of those rare works, a novella so spare and luminous that every sentence feels intentional. Every silence feels heavy with meaning. Set in rural Ireland during a hot summer, Foster tells the story of a young girl, unnamed for much of the narrative, who is sent away from her crowded, struggling home to live temporarily with relatives, the Kinsellas. She does not know when she will be collected, nor whether she is wanted at all. What follows is a tale of discovery, care, and belonging, woven with the kind of precision and restraint that has made Keegan one of Ireland's most celebrated contemporary writers. From the very beginning, we sense the uncertainty of the child's world. Her father drives her to the farm without much explanation, the journey described with Keegan's signature clarity. For the child, this trip is both strange and vaguely unsettling. She has been taken away from what she knows, though what she knows is not necessarily comfort. Her family is large, resources scarce, and affection doled out sparingly. She is not starved of food so much as she is starved of attention. And yet, in her childlike way, she accepts this removal as something ordinary, something to be endured. The father, meanwhile, is emotionally distant, and Keegan does not waste words trying to explain to him. That is her genius. She gives us gestures, silences, absences, and in them, we read volumes. He leaves his daughter with the Kinsellas with little ceremony, perhaps relieved to have one less mouth to feed. This act, seemingly pragmatic, is also deeply revealing of the child's position in her family. She is someone who can be given away, temporarily, with no clear promises of return. When the child first arrives at the Kinsella household, she is struck by the contrast. The house itself is tidy, well-kept, and ordered. Here, things seem cared for. The farm, the animals, the very air. There is a sense of abundance, but not the abundance of wealth. Rather, an abundance of attention, of deliberate care. The Kinsellas, a middle-aged couple without children of their own, greet her not with effusive hugs, but with a steady, quiet welcome. In their restraint lies something new for the girl, a kind of respect. As readers, we sense what she cannot articulate. This is a home where she will, for the first time, be noticed. Keegan writes with such subtlety that even the smallest gestures, a jug of water poured, a bed turned down neatly, become charged with meaning. The child is cautious, still unsure whether she belongs. She observes, absorbs, hesitates. This is not yet home, but the seed of belonging is planted. It's here that Foster begins to reveal one of its most striking themes: the transformative power of care. Not grand gestures, not dramatic rescues, but simple, consistent attention to another's presence. In the silence between words, in the careful tending of the household, the Kinsellas create a space where the girl can begin to breathe, to grow. The Irish rural setting is not mere backdrop. Keegan evokes a place where time is slower, where the rhythms of farming life dictate the day. In this stillness, we feel both the weight of tradition and the possibility of change. Ireland in the late 20th century was still marked by silence. Silence around poverty, silence around grief, silence within families. Keegan captures this with unerring precision. Nothing is spoken outright, but everything is felt. And so, in these opening pages, we move from the bleak uncertainty of the girl's home life to the cautious stability of the Kinsellas world. It is not yet love, but it is safe. It is not yet belonging, but it is the beginning of it. And in Keegan's restrained, luminous prose, we understand that this quiet summer will change the child forever. Part 2. A House of Quiet Care. The girl's first days in the Kinsella household are marked by a quiet strangeness. She notices immediately that this house runs different from her own. There is no shouting, no chaotic movement of too many children underfoot, no harsh words dropped carelessly in the air. Instead, there is order. Meals are prepared with intention, chores are carried out steadily, and conversations, when they happen, are measured. In her parents' home, silence had often meant neglect, the kind of absence where a child is overlooked, lost in the crowd. But here, silence means something else. It means peace. It means there is no hurry, no eruption waiting to happen. The stillness of the Kinsellas' house is not oppressive, but protective, and slowly the girl begins to feel its difference. Mrs. Kinsella, in particular, embodies this atmosphere of care. She does not fuss over the girl, nor does she smother her with attention. Instead, she provides what the child most needs: steadiness. She ensures she is fed, clean, and rested. These are ordinary acts, but to the girl, they feel extraordinary. She has a bed that is entirely her own, a space where she can fall asleep without the weight of neglect pressing down on her. The details are small, but Keegan is a master of making the small sound with emotional force. A glass of milk, cool and fresh, handed without rush. A bath prepared with care. A brush runs gently through tangled hair. These are not grand gestures, but for the girl, they are revelations. She is learning, without yet realizing it, what it feels like to be nurtured. Mr. Kinsella, though quieter still, plays a profound role in her unfolding sense of safety. He is not a man of many words. Instead, his presence speaks through constancy. He works the farm, tends to the land, and moves through the day with an unspoken rhythm of responsibility. He does not speak down to the girl. Rather, when he does engage, he treats her with a seriousness that surprises her. In this household, she is not invisible. She is seen. Here we can pause to reflect on the brilliance of Keegan's storytelling. She does not tell us directly what the girl feels. Instead, she shows us through the girl's perceptions, through the way she notices the difference between her parents' home and this new one. Keegan's prose is famously sparse, pared down to its essence, yet that restraint leaves room for the reader's own emotional response to bloom. The Irish setting once again deepens the story's resonance. Rural Ireland, especially in the latter half of the 20th century, was a place where family life was often dictated by survival. Large families were common, resources stretched thin, and affection was sometimes considered a luxury. In this context, the Kinsellas' home feels like an oasis. Not wealthy, not indulgent, but rich in attention. Their childlessness, though unspoken, creates space for this girl to be cherished in a way she has not known. And yet there is a shadow. Keegan drops hints that Kinsellas' calm exterior lies unacknowledged sorrow. The couple's silence is not only peace, but also a way of coping with loss. We sense it in the way they hold the girl with such quiet reverence, as though she is both a joy and a reminder of something missing. The child does not fully grasp this yet. but the reader feels the weight of it. What is remarkable is how quickly the girl begins to adapt. At first shy and tentative, she soon slips into the rhythm of the household. She helps with chores, learns the patterns of farm life, and starts to trust that meals will always come, that kindness is steady, that she is welcome. This adjustment is more than a change in routine. It is a transformation of her inner world. A child who once floated unseen is now anchored. This section of Foster highlights one of Keegan's most enduring themes, the idea that love is often unspoken. In Irish culture, especially of this period, emotions were not easily declared. Love was communicated through actions. A roof kept sound, food placed on the table, a hand held at the right moment. Keegan captures this cultural truth with precision. The Kinsellas do not say they love the girl, but every gesture speaks to it. As readers, or listeners, we are invited to see how radical such ordinary care can be. The girl is not rescued in a dramatic sense, but she is given something far more lasting, the experience of being valued. This experience will change the way she understands herself. By the end of her first days with the Kinsellas, the girl had not yet blossomed fully, but she had taken root. The soil here is richer, kinder, and in it, she begins, cautiously, tenderly, to grow. Part 3. Blossoming in silence. As the long summer days unfold, the girl begins to change. What is remarkable is that this transformation does not happen through grand events, but through the steady accumulation of small kindnesses. The Kinsella household, she is no longer a shadow, no longer the extra child at the edge of the room. Here, she is central, not because anyone declares it, but because every detail of life now acknowledges her presence. Her posture shifts, she speaks more. She eats heartily, no longer glancing sideways to see if there will be enough for her. She plays outside, runs across fields, and helps with the small rituals of farm life. Slowly, the anxious uncertainty that clung to her begins to lift. This is what love, or something close to it, does to a child. It makes them visible to themselves. Keegan writes these changes with extraordinary subtlety. There are no sweeping statements, no heavy-handed declarations about transformation. Instead, we are shown glimpses, the girl laughing more easily, leaning into the quiet security of Mr. Kinsella's presence. Watching Mrs. Kinsella's deliberate movements with prose is restrained, luminous, precise, every word polished like a stone in a riverbed. But with this new blossoming comes a deeper awareness. The girl begins to notice the undercurrent of grief that runs through the Kinsellas' lives. It is not spelled out immediately, but we sense it. A kind of hush around certain subjects, a weight in the couple's silences. Eventually, it becomes clear. The Kinsellas lost a child of their own years ago. This loss, unspoken, haunts their days. And now, into the silence, the girl has stepped. The poignancy here is breathtaking. The girl, who has been neglected in her own home, becomes, in the Kinsellas' household, both child and balm. She fills a space they thought would remain empty forever. And yet, Keegan avoids sentimentality. The Kinsellas do not smother her, nor do they try to make her into a replacement. Instead, they love her as she is, cautious, curious, slowly blooming into herself. Their grief does not vanish, but it transforms. In caring for her, they find healing. One of the most moving relationships in Foster is between the girl and Mr. Kinsella. He is a man of few words, and yet his quiet actions speak volumes. He takes her along to the well, shows her how to carry water, teaches her to move through the world with steadiness. She senses his gentleness, his reliability, and though she would not articulate it in so many words, she begins to trust him. For a child whose own father is careless and indifferent, this trust is life-changing. It is in small exchanges that Keegan shows us how love is built. A ride in a cart, a moment of shared silence, a gesture of protection, these accumulate into something profound. Mr. Kinsella never says, "I love you," but when he lifts her carefully into the cart, or when he waits patiently as she lingers behind, his actions declare it more powerfully. Mrs. Kinsella, too, embodies this unspoken devotion. She notices the girl's needs before the girl even names them. Food appears just as hunger sets in. Clothes are mended before they are asked for. She does not interrogate the girl about her life at home, nor does she judge. Instead, she creates a world where the girl can breathe freely, unafraid of mistakes. In this quiet environment, the girl learns something she never knew before, that she matters. This is where Keegan's style becomes so essential. Her prose is famously spare, no excess, no ornamentation. Yet within that sparseness lies extraordinary depth. What she leaves unsaid is as important as what she writes. The silences in Foster are spaces the reader must inhabit, filling them with their own understanding, their own emotions. This is a reflection of Irish rural culture itself, where words were often rationed, where grief was carried privately, and where affection, when it appeared, came more in deeds than in. Thematically, Foster speaks to the universal human need for belonging. Every child, no matter how resilient, craves the assurance that they are wanted. In the Kinsellas' home, the girl experiences this for the first time, and it reshapes her sense of self. She begins to imagine a world where she is not an afterthought, but a cherished presence. Yet this newfound security is fragile. The girl knows, deep down, that this summer is temporary. She has been given a glimpse of what life could be, but she cannot hold on to it forever. The Kinsellas' house is a haven, but it is not hers by right. That knowledge lingers in the background, a shadow on every moment of joy. And so, as she blossoms, running freer, laughing louder, sleeping more soundly, we as readers feel both uplifted and heartbroken. We know what she has gained, but we also fear what she may lose. This duality, joy laced with sorrow, safety shadowed by impermanence, is what makes Foster such an extraordinary story. By the middle of the novella, the girl has been changed irrevocably. She has experienced what it feels like to be loved without condition, to be held gently, to be seen clearly. This summer, brief as it is, will mark her forever. And Keegan makes us feel the weight of that truth with every restrained, luminous sentence. Part 4, The Summer's End. As summer ripens, the girl has come to feel at home in the Kinsellas' house. She runs through the fields, helps with small chores, and moves about with a lightness that would have been unthinkable when she first arrived. The transformation is undeniable. The neglected, uncertain child has become a girl who knows safety, who has tasted tenderness, who understands what it is to be cherished. But like all summers, this one must end. The knowledge hovers unspoken, like a storm cloud waiting at the edge of the horizon. Neither the girl nor the Kinsellas name it, but it is felt in every quiet evening, every shared glance. The moment of separation is inevitable, and because it is inevitable, it casts a shadow even on the brightest days. When her father comes to collect her, the difference between his world and the Kinsellas' becomes stark once more. He is as careless and indifferent as ever, treating the matter of taking his daughter home as a casual errand rather than the profound rupture it truly is. To him, she has been away for a season, cared for, perhaps fattened up, and now she returns, little more than a practical arrangement fulfilled. But for the girl, and for the Kinsellas, this summer has been anything but practical. It has been transformative. And in the final scenes, Keegan captures this heartbreak with her characteristic restraint. There are no dramatic declarations, no tearful goodbyes shouted into the air. Instead, the sorrow is carried in small gestures, exchanged, in the unbearable weight of what cannot be said. One of the most haunting elements of Foster is how the child's departure underscores the fragility of love when it is bound by circumstance. She has been given a vision of what life could be, steady, nurturing, full of care, but she cannot remain in it. She must return to a home where affection is scarce, where neglect is the norm. The reader feels the injustice of this keenly. And yet, Keegan does not allow us to sink into despair. For though the summer ends, what the girl has learned cannot be erased. She carries it with her. The knowledge that she is worth caring for, that she is capable of being loved, that her existence has value. This knowledge, once kindled, cannot be extinguished, even by neglect. It is the seed of resilience planted in fertile soil, and though she may return to harder ground, that seed will remain. In this way, devastating because we ache for the girl to stay, to live in that house of quiet care forever. Hopeful because we know that even a brief experience of love can alter a life. What she has received is enough to change the way she sees herself, and perhaps the way she navigates the world beyond this summer. Keegan's artistry is fully realized in these final moments. She does not over-explain, does not indulge in sentimentality. Instead, she leaves space for silence, for implication, for the reader to feel the full weight of what is lost and what is gained. This restraint, the refusal to say too much, is what makes Foster so unforgettable. Reflecting on the novella as a whole, we can see its brilliance lies in simplicity. The plot is spare. A girl is sent to live with relatives. She is cared for, she grows, and then she leaves. Yet within the simplicity, Keegan captures the deepest truths of human experience. The hunger for love, the quiet devastation of loss, the healing power, and the way a single summer can change the course of a life. Foster is also profoundly Irish in its silences. Rural Ireland, with its long traditions of reticence, of unspoken grief, of love communicated through action rather than speech, permeates every page. But though rooted in a specific time and place, the story's themes are universal. Every listener, regardless of background, can recognize the ache of neglect, the wonder of unexpected kindness, and the bittersweet pain of parting from what feels like home. As the girl departs from the Kinsellas' care, we are left with a lingering truth that sometimes the greatest gift is not permanence, but the memory of having been seen. For one brief, radiant summer, this child knew what it was to be valued. And that memory will shape her, sustain her, and stay with her long after the summer fades. Claire Keegan's Foster may be slender in length, but its impact is vast. It is a story that resonates in the silences it creates, in the emotions it stirs, and in the timeless reminder it offers. That love, even when brief, can leave an indelible mark on the soul.